Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture at Pat. So today we are talking about A24's latest horror movie, Talk to Me.
Cannot go for more than 90 seconds. Am I clear?
What happens after 90 seconds?
Don't want to stay.
When a group of friends discovers how to conjure spirits by using an embalmed hand, they become hooked on the new thrill until one of them unleashes terrifying supernatural forces. So Talk to Me is directed by YouTubers RackaRacka, and this has been one of my most anticipated horror films, but also one of my most anticipated movies of 2023. I know that even though I might not necessarily love every single release that A24 puts out, but I know that I'm going to get something that's creative and different. So I'm always looking forward to an A24 release. And this movie has been getting a ton of buzz behind it, so it's kind of hard to go into a movie without some level of expectation when you have a movie with that much buzz behind it. Another reason that I was really looking forward to this, though, is that it is directed by YouTube stars RackaRacka, which I thought that was just really cool. Some fellow YouTubers, granted, I am like minuscule compared to these guys, but fellow YouTubers nonetheless to get a shot at making a film like that, so I thought that was really cool. And so the film opens up with a bang, and obviously I'm not going to tell you guys, I'm not going to give you any spoilers. I want you guys to experience this for yourselves, but it lets the audience know real quick that you're about to see some fucked up shit. From there, we get introduced to our main character, Mia, who is played by Sophie Wilde. We find out that she has lost her mother 2 years ago, and so she's still dealing with that, grieving that loss. We then meet Mia's friend, Jade, and her brother, Riley. They end up going to this party one night where these kids are playing this game called Talk to Me. And so there's this ceramic hand that if you grab it, hold on to it, and say, "Talk to me," you're able to communicate to the dead. And then if you let the spirit in, that spirit takes possession of you, but you don't want to go over 90 seconds because bad shit happens if you go over that 90 seconds. And obviously that happens in this movie. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to this, especially growing up. I know myself with a lot of my friends going to different sleepovers, playing different things like with Ouija boards, with Bloody Mary, Light as a Feather, different things like that. So it's just kids having stupid fun. Although I do like how they portray it in this movie, and I think it's just kind of the vibe of being at a party and wanting to have fun with everyone else. But they almost kind of portray it as sort of like addicting, that once these kids start playing this game, Talk to Me, all of them start doing it, and they just keep doing it until shit goes south real quick. And I like how they also give a good reason for why these kids want to keep playing this game, Talk to Me, after some bad shit does happen, because I know for me personally, if I was playing this game that first time and I started talking to a ghost or there was a dead person in front of me, I would be like, hell no. So I did appreciate that they actually gave a logical reason why they would want to continue doing this. Now, is this the scariest movie of all time? This seems to be that question that gets brought up with every big horror movie release. And no, I won't say it's the scariest movie of all time, but it's definitely a movie that is going to stick with you. Or at least for me, personally, it stuck with me. And for me, at least so far up to this point in 2023, I would say it's probably the scariest movie of the year that I have seen personally. The scares here, they're earned and make sense. They're not just randomly scattered throughout the film that like some modern horror films can sometimes feel like, which again was something that I really appreciated because I hate when you get some of those fake jump scares. These I felt like were all earned. And there are some generally disturbing scenes in Talk to Me that I won't be forgetting anytime soon. This is one of those movies for me personally, getting home last night after watching this, where I was kind of getting ready for bed, all the lights are off. You're just kind of sitting there wondering if something's waiting for you there in the dark. At least like that's how I felt. So this movie definitely creeped me out a little bit, and that doesn't happen very often. But horror is one of those genres that it's so subjective. I mean, what can creep me out or what scares me personally might not scare you. You might not think it's scary at all. But for me, at least me personally, I really enjoyed this, and I love that it actually creeped me out a little bit. And I can't continue this review without talking about or giving a shout out to the special effects in this movie, because holy shit, they were amazing. When it comes to horror, I am a guy that always prefers practical effects rather than using CGI. And some of the stuff that they were able to do in this movie was really gnarly, especially with some of the gorier scenes. I don't want to go into really any detail because I don't want to give anything away for you guys. But yeah, when you see some of these spirits and some of these different things going on, there is some moments where you're like, ugh, you cringe a little bit. And as far as performances go, I liked pretty much everyone in the cast, but I would say that Sophie Wilde playing as Mia is definitely the standout for me. I could definitely see, I think this is going to be a breakout role for her. The character of Mia goes through a lot in this movie, and I thought that Sophie really nailed that in her performance, especially when you get to some of the scenes that deal with the hand. And when you guys see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. One of the other aspects that really impressed me was that how they were able to make Talk to Me feel fresh, even though there have been so many possession movies in recent years. So it's kind of one of those things where you're going into, you're like, oh, is this going to be another one of those generic possession movies? But no, I thought they did a really good job of how they were able to approach it with this take on the genre. When you have a subgenre that has so many different films in it, it can be tough to separate itself, but I think that Talk to Me does a really good job of standing out. And again, without giving any spoilers, this might be one of my favorite endings to a horror movie in recent memory. I thought that they really nailed it here, and I'm sure some people, again, it could be subjective, some people might hate it, but I love that the way that they ended this movie. I thought it was really cool. I had me and my buddy talking about it for a while afterwards after the movie, and when a movie does that, you know that it was successful, at least in my opinion. As you guys can tell, I absolutely loved Talk to Me. It's not only one of my favorite films of the year, it's one of my favorite horror movies of the year for sure. And if you are a horror fan, I highly recommend you guys go ahead and check this out. And if you have seen it, I definitely want to hear what your guys' thoughts are. So let me know down below in the comments. As far as a rating goes for this movie, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. Absolutely loved it. Can't wait to pick it up. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If you haven't seen it, is this one that you are planning to see? And what is the last movie for you personally that freaked you out a little bit or made you, stay up a little bit later because you were kind of afraid to go to bed? I want to hear what some of those films are for you down below. And again, if you guys are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button as well as the bell button next to it. That way you get notifications for all my new videos. Give this video a thumbs up. And as always, guys, please make sure to check back for more Pop Culture with Pat.